Level Up Latina partners with working women and mamas alike to guide them in achieving fulfilling career and life goals through financial empowerment, professional or leadership coaching, and personal wellness. Find the unique coaching you need to succeed.
You're listening to Vero, Ceci, and Irene, and we are Level Up Latina.
Welcome back to another episode of the Level Up Latina podcast. This is the summer series, so they're short, sweet, to the point on many topics that some of our listeners sent in for us to discuss in this summer series. I believe this is episode 255. And today we're going to talk about books, music, kind of like movie or TV recommendations, kind of like what's going to keep our mind entertained outside of having the kids in for the summer. And if you're single, what else you're going to do besides go have fun at the beach or do a little, road trip, because the summer is always awesome for road trips. I mean, you guys can let me know, but I feel that the summer is perfect for little road trips. But before we move on, how are you, Ceci and Irene, doing today?
Good. Aquí ya más centradas con energía. I know when we record on Mondays, we've said como que it takes us a while to kind of get the flow going. But I think one episode down, I think our juices are flowing.
Yes, they are. So excited to bring you this third summer series episode today. So thank you for being here and listening.
They've been pretty good, the summer series episodes. We've had some good conversations. And now that we're not having any technical difficulties, let's kick some butt and talk some more. I don't know about you ladies, but I don't know. We don't tend to have a lot of time to read unless it's like audiobooks, right? Like sit down and read and flip through pages, or music is easy. You can always play music in the background, but like to sit down and read or watch a movie or a show, we don't have a lot of time for that. But if you have made some time, and I know book-wise, as the Guilt-Free Squad, we are reading Cultura en Cash by Giovanna. What's Giovanna's last name, you guys?
González.
And she's a fellow gaucho. Go UCSB, fellow gaucho. So we're reading that book as of now through Guilt-Free Squad. So that's maybe something that we all want to, if you have heard about the Guilt-Free Squad and you had some curiosity in joining, we also do some occasional book reading, book clubs, and this is one of the books that we're doing this year. But that's a book so far that we're starting to read. We'll give you more feedback on it later when we're done with the book and we've had our Guilt-Free Squad discussion. But for you ladies, is there anything else that you might be reading, anything in particular you're listening to because it's the summer, or any TV or movie recommendations that you might have?
I'm into this book. Well, obviously we all are because we're all reading it, but I think it's such an easy read, so our listeners should pick it up because it's like so easy to read. It's like the easiest read. It's like, okay, I'll knock out a chapter and it gets knocked out really fast. It's super well written, so that's a good one. Right now, because there's so much downtime at home, Ceci earlier was talking about watching classic movies with her kiddos. We've done a little bit of that with our kiddos, with my oldest who's 17 and my daughter who's going to be 14 later this week. We've watched like classic movies that we think are really funny, like from the 80s or even our generation of like high school, college. So we were trying to watch Road Trip the other day, but it's a little raunchier than we remembered. We were only watching it with the oldest, but we kind of got over that one. But we've watched a lot of stuff from the 80s with the kiddos. We watched Mean Girls on repeat, which is not from the 80s. That's from the early 2000s. But I've also been really into like the kind of kiddish movies on Netflix. Follow me here. It's a good one to watch with my daughter, and it's a good way to bond. So we just watched Work It, and that's on Netflix. And we've seen all the ones that are like based on books because she ends up getting the books. So like To All the Boys I Loved, that's a really cute one. Like it's a really cute one.
Yeah.
They're very, very cute. And I think they're well done. Like I'm not super bored by them, and then she's into them because she gets the books. P.S. I Love You is another one. I think it might still be the same series. That's the stage that we're in. Like kind of what's on Netflix that the kids like, that I like. The kids are into Stranger Things, so we've done that one together. My son just got into Suits, funny enough. We haven't watched it together, but he was like, Mom, Suits, you gotta watch Suits. So I'm gonna start watching it just because I like talking and bonding over that with the kids. We've watched Welcome to Wrexham because it's something that my son is into and I'm into, and that's all about like Ryan Reynolds and Mulaney. I always forget his first name. The guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They bought a soccer team together several years ago. They've been documenting like their rise in this actual city in Wrexham. That's been really fun to bond over. Like my husband and my son get to bond over sports, but I don't always know what's going on. I'm not really into any one sport. I just kind of follow because of them. But I know who Ryan Reynolds is, and I like celebrities, and I like the celebrity storyline. So watching Welcome to Wrexham has been fun because I like how that show is about this goal and coming together and the hurdles of this soccer team. It's more than just a soccer team. They talk about the women's soccer team. They talk about the city. They talk about the long-term fans in Wrexham. They talk about soccer and what it is in Europe. And I've loved it so much. It's like helped me bond with Diego and with Isaiah, and it's based on a show. So that's a cool one that I feel like I've been watching lately. So as you can tell, a lot of watching movies because we're together, because we're summer. With the youngest, he's not big into movies, so there's no movies there. My husband does make them read chapter books, and they have to report on their chapter books every day, but that's neither here nor there. They each have to send an email of the 30 minutes that they read. And then as it relates to music, we're really into Brazilian music right now. My husband, my son, my in-laws, everybody's into the vibe. I think because there's a big connection again to soccer and Brazilian music with soccer. So sharing Brazilian artists, kind of figuring out the lyrics and what they mean. That's been really fun at home, but it's all kind of revolving around summer, like bonding with each other. Movies that my tween would like, older movies that my son would like. Movies or documentaries around sports, like we like watching the 30 for 30s that are also on Netflix. They're just really good and really well done. Again, I like stuff because of the movie value and the documentary nature, and I can get into it. They obviously like athletes and sports, and they're all into that. And then the last thing is just my kiddos read for fun, so I'm reading the Cultura en Cash while they're reading for Dad and his book. So that's some of the stuff we're into right now.
I haven't watched that Ryan Reynolds one, with the Wrexham one, but have you watched Ted Lasso? It's like the real life Ted Lasso, I feel.
I love Ted Lasso. I saw all the episodes. That show is so freaking good.
He's like the world's nicest guy. I'm like, come on, nice guy, you know? But I think, didn't they just buy a team in Mexico, like in Tijuana or something like that? I believe they might have bought a team.
Ooh,
Ryan Reynolds and ese muchacho.
Otra?
Yeah.
Another team?
I think they did.
Rob, I think his name's Rob. Rob McElhenney. I think that's his name. It just came to me. God, I have to look it up.
Yeah, I
just
think they
love
might
those
have
two.
just bought
They're
another
such a cool-
team. But yeah, it sounds like the Ted Lasso. I've been wanting to watch it, but I'm like, okay, que veo aquí allá. And you mentioned Suits. I started watching Suits. I heard Ceci saying in your last voice messages, Ceci, that you're like, oh, I have some time. I'm going to watch some Suits. Que no sé qué. And girl, I'll let you talk about it first, but go for it. ¿Qué recomendaciones?
I jumped on that wagon late in the game because a couple years ago, a lot of people were talking about Suits, and I remember people would tell me like, "Oh, you should watch it, whatever." And then I don't know when I started watching it. I want to say like less than 6 months ago, maybe. I don't know, but I'm on. I guess there's a new series. Series? No, ¿cómo se dice?
Season?
Yeah, like
Season.
a series. Like a series.
And I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, a new season, right? That's gonna be released on Netflix this week or something.
What?
But anyway,
Suits?
I saw like an ad for it. I think
It's a
But anyway,
9-season show.
It's a 9-season show. I think I'm finally on season 8.
Oh, girl, you are
think.
watching it. Get it?
I am.
Oh,
I'm
you
watching.
really are. My son's on season 2. You
Yeah.
really are watching it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I started watching it, I want to say maybe 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, no me acuerdo, but I feel like I would pick it up and then drop it, pick it up and then drop it, and then now I've been watching it religiously. I mean, not religiously, but I've been like consistent watching, and so that's why I'm in season 8 now, like probably episode 1 or 2. But it's good. It's good. It's crazy. It's like outrageous. And I'm like, shit, qué bueno que no trabajo yo in corporate law. But yeah, it's like the stuff you see there, like it happens. I feel like it happens for sure. It's good. Let's see. What else am I into? And then, I started watching Sex and the City again. Cause it's on Netflix también. So I'll watch an episode here or there. And then How I Met Your Mother. I love that show. It's hilarious. It's on there too. I haven't started watching it, but it's there. I'm like, oh, when I want like a feel good, funny episode, I'll watch that. And then yes, like Irene and like Vero and all of us in GFS, we're reading the Cultura Cash. I like it too because it's so easy. It's such an easy read. And yesterday, in fact, Vero, you were saying like, we don't have much time to do many things these days. But yesterday, like I gave myself time to just be in the backyard and like read. Estaba tan bonito el día. We had gone on a walk to take the dog out with the girls. My hubby was out for a conference, and so we were out and about walking the dog, and the girls, ya sabes, podemos comer afuera, but can we go to the local cafe? Can we eat out? I was like, fine, let's do that. I'm like, I was not trying to make breakfast. I ended up not having breakfast or not cooking at home yesterday all day. Comimos afuera todo el día. Anyway, we went into the backyard. The girls had found, one of those like free libraries in the neighborhood, and they found like these chapter books on mermaids, believe it or not. And they wanted to bring some home, and I was like, fine, bring some home. But I said, pero van a leer ahorita. And they're like, yeah, we want to read. So we went, all three of us were in the backyard, el perro ahí también.
El perro.
And it was nice just to be out and read and, just take in the sun. Yo con mi cafecito, it was nice. It was nice. So we allowed ourselves to that time. And then también over the weekend we were watching some of the classic movies. I was telling Irene before we started recording that we watched The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. At first the girls were like, no, they're more into cartoons, but then they got into it, and they really liked it, and plus it's like, it deals with twins, so they like that. And then yesterday we started watching Splash, the mermaid movie with Tom Hanks, and then I forgot her name again. Daryl, dijiste? Daryl Hannah. Okay. So yeah, that's a classic movie también, since, they're into mermaids, and I remember really loving this movie when I was a kid and watched it. So that's what we're into right now, the classics. And then I think, Vero, you're going to talk about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I haven't watched it with the girls, but maybe it's a good one to watch.
Oh my goodness.
And
go ahead.
When I think that we talked a lot about like old stuff we've been watching, but I think all three of us have this in common, but everyone should watch Inside Out too. Like, I think it's really, really good. I think everybody's seen it.
I haven't seen it yet.
No way.
No, my girls watched it con Luis, pero yo no lo he visto.
Oh, your girls already saw it. They love it?
They loved it, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really good. My kids have not been into cartoons in a while, and both of the youngest wanted to see it, my 12 and 13-year-old. So it meant a lot to me that they actually wanted to go. We took my little goddaughter, who's about 6. Of course, she was all into it. She had to wear green and be dressed like Envy, and she was super, super into it. But we all loved it, and I think it's a great movie for parents and kids. So Vero's got to watch it. Ceci, you've got to watch it. I wanted to make sure that we recorded on the show, that it's such a great, relatable, cute movie. And I think they do a really good job to talk about feelings and anxiety being like the new feeling in this installment of them.
She's growing and developing. Riley. I've been seeing a lot of things on IG, like therapists like, oh, this is really good. This is a great way of explaining things, like on IG, like the breakdown. So we've been trying to take the kids to a movie theater. They have not been to a movie theater quite yet. Y aquí en Pico Rivera, there's a Cinépolis. And so it has like the nice little kid area, they can watch the movie, but then they have a little play area. So in case they get antsy while they're watching, they can just go play. But we are looking for it in Spanish because they watch the movies in Spanish. And I want them to see it and understand it, then watch it and be like, oh, okay, nomás por verla, and being entertained just with seeing it. We're waiting for it to be in Spanish. But usually, if not, I'm like, it seems like to be such a good movie that I'm like, I'll just go watch it with Otto. Maybe make it a date night or something. We're dealing with anxiety.
It's a good one.
We're dealing with ennui, right? Ennui. I was like, what's ennui?
It's a good
Extreme
one.
boredom. I'm just like, oh man. So it'll be nice.
Or just like the way teenagers are, like everything like.
So bored.
It's such a like relatable like.
But,
yeah, exactly. That's teenagers and adults, I guess, sometimes.
yeah, we can be like that sometimes. Yeah, for me, I started watching Suits. I'm not in season 2. I started this weekend. And Otto and I were having a conversation, and he goes, oh yeah, like in Suits, blah, 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 blah. He's explaining something. He's explaining something about Harvey Specter. And he's like, have you watched Suits? I was like, no. He's like, I can't believe you have never watched Suits. I go, no, I haven't. He's like, I'm going to play episode 1 right now for you. Just episode 1, because that lays it out for you for the rest of the seasons. So I was like, okay. So he plays it for me. I'm addicted. Every night so far, since Friday night, I've watched somehow on Netflix the first episodes, part 1 and part 2. So it's an hour and like 40 minutes. So I'm in episode, so I watched Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. So I'm in episode 5 right now. But it's so good. It's such a good show. It's like witty and it's cool. And it's like just someone trying to like...
Don't tell us.
Anyway, it's like such a good show. But anyway, check it out. Another show I really liked so far is True Detective. If you guys haven't seen the True Detectives, they're super good. I'm about to start the last one with, I believe it's Jodie Foster. And Isa, she's a Mexican actress. But I've heard so many good things about it. But for a True Detective, you have to be like able to focus. And most nights, I'm just so exhausted que me voy a dormir. So for things like that, no. But another one I want to watch that's entertaining is the show on like how they pick the America's Sweethearts, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I really want to see that because it looks like they do some hard ass work. I'm like, let me get some motivation and inspiration from these women. But yeah, the kids.
For real, I feel like I feel like I can't watch it until I've been like on a Peloton streak. I'm like, I'm gonna give myself that treat after like 2 weeks of non-stop Peloton because I feel like you are gonna get motivated at all.
Yeah.
Supposedly, it's like they have these very strict, regimented, like perfect routines to have perfect bodies and presence, and I'm like, oh my god, that's gonna motivate you or make you sad. So
I mean, for as long as I can remember watching football as a kid, like anytime I watched, I mean, I was a fan of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders 100%. They were like the most beautiful, like they're just like on point. Like they were not messing around. I'm like, these ladies are amazing. So when I saw this show, I was like, I need to watch this for show. But like there isn't much time. So with the kids right now, we're entertaining them with a lot of the old movies. So we did watch the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And they're just like, ¿por qué la hormiga la mató tal? Y que no sé qué. So they're like just so curious. You know, I'm like, yeah. Pero la hormiga estaba tan grande. La hormiga estaba grande because the kids were shrunk. They were like smaller than ants. But ants are small. So yesterday andaban allá afuera looking for las hormiguitas. And they're like, hormiguitas, ¿hay niños por allí en el zacate? You know, like kind of asking them.
How cute.
Yeah, this is super cute. These kids are like adorable. They watch Three Ninjas because they're on karate now. So Three Ninjas, I don't know if you guys ever watched Three Ninjas. And one of them is about to interrupt me right now. Mande. Ahorita les doy.
It's mom talking about
Yeah,
us.
their ears were ringing.
Is this me?
Bien que saben.
Sí, vayan para allá, ahorita les doy un chicle, ¿sale?
¿Por qué tenemos que le hayas un chicle?
Me pidió un chicle, pero le dije que me esperara allá en la sala. Ahorita voy.
Okay.
Gracias. But yeah. So that's another movie that's really good. And the Three Ninjas, all these kids, we bought them a punching bag so that now they practice their little kicks and punches and stuff like that on their punching bag. But yeah, it's just little entertainment. And I look at I was watching Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and I'm like, wow, that was such a great movie. I loved it. But now it looks so like fake. You know?
Also inappropriate. Like movies from the 80s were much more inappropriate. Like the PG-13, I think the bad words, the sexual innuendo, like we grew up in the 80s a little more exposed. Now it's such a woke culture that things that are PG-13 are really safe, I think.
Who's that man that he does like seminars and stuff? He's like, if you get offended by my words, blame your parents because your parents raised up PUSSY, right? And I'm like, oh my God, ancient man, how are you saying this with the woke people, like everybody here right now, with the people who are living now? But it's so trippy. Yeah, they're a little more offensive, a little more, like kids maybe have been exposed to more back then, you know? But it's so trippy. Yeah, I mean, those are some of the...
We really were, girl. Like the Richard Pryor movies, like they were, wow. I guess you can watch vulgar movies like that now and they're not PG-13,
Beverly Hills
but
Cop Girl.
I feel like... Yeah, like even the movie Big where the boy, he's technically a kid, but then he's like in a sex scene. Like that's super inappropriate, man. Think about it.
Me acuerdo de eso.
¿Se acuerdan? The movie Big is a classic. But anyway, it's a little cringe now when you think
I remember Revenge of the Nerds. I'm like, I'm not going to show that to my kids at any point yet. It's still, even though it was like, I saw it as like maybe an 8-year-old, I am not going to show my kids Revenge of the Nerds until maybe in their teens, you know? Maybe.
Same. Aquí, even with like the movie Splash, I was like, I don't remember. I'm like, I remember watching it as a kid, but I don't remember if it has like scenes, you know, like, you know, they're like making out. And I was like, okay, fine. But then, you know, when I didn't know if they were going to show like nipples and she's in the ocean, como, so se lo alcanza a ver, you know? So I was just like, yeah. And they're like, oh, ¿por qué sirena? I was like, yeah, porque sirena, you know, I just met it.
Se le cayeron sus conchitas, se regresaron a la arena, pero está bien, no se preocupen. Todos tenemos chichitas, los hombres, las mujeres tenemos nipples, no se preocupen, you know? But, yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. So if there's anything out there, I mean, is there anything else you guys might have on your plate to watch for the summer? Or with your kids, with the hubs, with the friends, anything like that?
No, but I've been listening to a lot of like música. I think you, Vero, you messaged me yesterday. I'm like, oh, aquí escuchando música. My dad is, my dad is grieving my mom, obviously. But yes, this weekend we went to the cemetery, and I always play like 1 or 2 songs for my mom on my phone. Always. Una de Rocío Dúrcal, the one that I sang at my mom's services. In my brother's house, I don't know, una de Rocío Dúrcal. Anyway, I always play that one, and I always ask my dad, like, oh, which one do you want me to play? And then he always asks for Amor Eterno con Rocío Dulcar. And then this past weekend, I was like, anything else? She's like, yeah. He's like, sí, Cuando dos almas. Cuando dos almas. And Mercedes Castro sings it beautifully.
That's
so I was listening to her yesterday. And then I put it with Lucha Villa. My dad requested it with con un dueto. Un dueto from probably the 60s or 70s. I don't know. I can't tell. But it's called Dueto Amanecer. Dueto Amanecer, Cuando dos almas. And I was like just playing it with like different, con Antonio Aguilar. Luego I played it with Mercedes Castro. And then con Lucha Villa. So I added it to my playlist.
That is a beautiful song.
Bravo.
That's on one of my mom's,
That's
my parents' jams. I pongo parents' jams back in the day. Es una de sus rolas ahí.
That's really, really sweet.
I love it.
And it's good for your dad. I think it's really good for your dad to like heal through music, and you guys bond over it, and you can connect to like music that he loves, even if it's not, like,
for sure.
And acá nosotros.
I was going to
go
recommend, before we wrap up, some of the books I was reading before. I was like, what was I reading before Culture and Cash? So I love audiobooks. So whoever's listening that's an audio buff, I'm with you. I see you, feel seen, because that's me too. Before Cultura and Cash, I was listening to The Psychology of Money, which I really like, by Morgan Housel. So I'm like halfway through that book. I think it's a good one. It's a keep me, so check it out. And then I had recently finished, and we'll talk about this in the next episode. We're going to be talking about college, but I had recently finished Where You Go Is Not Who You'll Be by Frank Bruni. Such a good book for anybody that's sending their kids to college, or anyone that wants to maybe give it to their child to read that's going to college. I think it's a good one. Believe me, I know that it's hard to get a 17 or an 18-year-old to read a book that you're reading. So good luck with that. Maybe haven't listened to it, but Where You Go Is Not Who You'll Be is such a good book about like the college madness and sort of like what it means to go to college, how that defines you, how competitive it is, how it shouldn't define you. And the little subtitle for that book is An Antidote to the College Admissions Mania, which I think is really, really good because it was a historically competitive year last year, and it's just crazy out there. So that book was really good. I loved it. I loved how it's written. I love this author and how he does case studies, and I like that he really speaks to real world examples, and he used real students and like their profiles and where they ended up in the long run. And other than that, I think another good book that I like to plug, she was on our podcast, Nelly Galan, for anybody who wants to read Self-Made, Becoming Empowered, Self-Reliant, and Rich in Every Way. That's another really good one to listen in audiobook because she reads it, but I like to recommend that one. So since we wanted to come up with recommendations, Self-Made by Nelly Galan. Again, she was on our podcast. You want to catch that episode first to get inspiration. Where You Go Is Not Who You'll Be, which is really good for anyone sending their kid to college. And for everybody, when you're done reading Cultura and Cash, The Psychology of Money is a really good one.
That's on my read list, but you guys know I have a long to read list right now. And another book that's on there, Psychology of Money, is one of them. So thanks, Irene, for talking about that one, is Sapiens. I'm late to the party on Sapiens, but it's like, it kind of just surveys the history of humankind starting from the Stone Age all the way up to the 21st century. But it has some really good stuff in there. And it's one of those, like, just makes you think. It makes you, like, realize.
I did have two quick book recommendations that, whatever you're going through life, es lo que te ayuda y te los echas así rapidito. The two books that I read before, right before Cultura Cash, one was Science, The Secret Language of the Universe, and it's by Laura Lynn Jackson. She's a medium. She talks about the signs that are sent from our loved ones that have, that have passed on, crossed on, as she refers to it, and está bonito. Me ayudó mucho. She's a medium, so I know she connects con gente. I'm not too, I wouldn't do that, but I liked reading and like how our loved ones connect with, send us signs to connect with us and show us that they're still there and they love us. And then the other one that I read was I'm Not a Morning Person by Chris Carr. Braving loss, grief, and the big messy emotions that happen when life falls apart. También me ayudó mucho. So if anyone's going through grief, I totally recommend those two books.
If you have any book recommendations, or if you're in the Guilt Free Squad and have a recommendation on a book that you might want to read as a group, let us know. And don't feel left out if you're not part of the Guilt Free Squad. We have plenty of room for all of you. Please visit leveluplatina.com and you can join the Guilt Free Squad. Right now it is only $30 a month, and we meet once a month for an hour, and we talk about different topics that are, I can't even say it right now, that are relevant to the Latina experience in where we live. So it's like a whole where we live in this world nowadays. So yeah. Anyway, we talk about everything and anything around the Latina experience as first gens, as being the first of many. So that's that. And then also our brunch. So you still have plenty of time to buy tickets for you, your friends, and the people that you love to come to the Breakthrough Brunch on October 12th. We have some great panelists. We've posted about them before. We'll go ahead and reshare that so you can get excited about coming and spending some time with not just myself, Ceci and Irene, but also with some amazing women that will be at the brunch. If you are a business and would like to be part of our brunch with a pop-up event, with a pop-up section of our event, let us know. You can hit us up at admin@leveluplatina.com and go to leveluplatina.com for all details about the brunch, about our coaching services, and who Level Up Latina is. And then you can find us always on Instagram at Level Up Latina. And yeah, that's a wrap. Los queremos. Ciao.
Don't forget to level up. Ciao.